It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Of course, it's our daily mission to bring you news that you can use. Today is not going to be an exception to the rule. We got a pretty good list for you on tonight. We'll hear from the Rosehill Christian Eagles head football coach Dennis Krantz. We'll also hear from the Bulldogs head football coach Gene Johnson. And our college football analyst, none other than B.J. Jones. And of course, we're going to roll right into today's episode. Hopefully you guys are having a pretty good weekend on the course of things and everything is lining up the way it needs to be lined up. What a wild weekend it was in the world of college football. Kansas State takes care of Oklahoma. Texas Raiders the Texas Tech Raiders, I should say, give the Longhorns all that they could handle. Alabama just annihilates the Missouri Tigers. And I, being a Missouri born and raised native, Missouri is not an SEC football program. I'm sorry, but it's just not. They're terrible. They're terrible. They are not fit for FCS play. I thought they would have made the adjustment as long as they've been a part of it, but they're still acting and aligning themselves up as if they're in the Big 12. They have more of a finesse style, but I'm not going to digress on that. Big weekend. Of course, the Deion Sanders frontline news across the nation, at least in HBCU Nation. And it is still a hotbed topic. We want to break that down and still break down. We received a couple of phone calls from you guys on the message line. It's 713-570-6736. We'll play some of that throughout the course of the week ahead. And just laying out the overall potential layout, what could be, what some might say should be, but still, when the dust settles, what you get in the highlights, press lines, and all that, those are wonderful things. Still going to have to put it together to come out on the field, and we'll be talking about that. And we've even gone to the point to where we've gone through a little research on grading all Southwestern Athletic Conference programs, including the new entries of Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. We gave a letter grade for the football program and then another letter grade for the overall athletic program for the past 5 years. So we're going to be breaking that down real soon. We got the final results in, and we can't wait to get your feedback on that. But it's going to be a letter grade, A through F, just as it was when you were in school. Of course, we know that A is the exception to the rule, and F is not meeting standards. So we'll break all those things down and have so much more. An exciting game we had right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network with the Rosehill Christian Eagles taking on the Shiner St. Paul Cardinals. Number 1 in the state versus number 2 when it comes to the TAPS division of football. And it was a very, very dynamic game. The Rosehill Christian Eagles came up a bit short, but very exciting game. We're going to hear from head football coach Dennis Krantz of the Rosehill Christian Eagles. We're going to take a break, get them lined up on our Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline to hear the recap and all the summaries of the game that was. You listen to the Mike Prince Show live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We'll take a break, and we will be right back. Here are your local high school wrap-ups from the weekend that was in the world of Waller County, Texas high school football. The Royal Falcons got blanked by Bowling by the score of 41-0, while the Bulldogs lost to Bryan Vikings by the score of 31-20. Other scores in the surrounding area: Navasota 21, Giddings 17. Montgomery falling short to Porter by the score of 22-21. Sealy drops a heartbreaker to Bay City by the score of 31-30. Magnolia loses to Tompkins by the score of 24-21. Anderson Shiro squeaks out a nail-biter against Warren 13-12. Magnolia West 48, the Brenham Cubs 28. In the battle of TAPS private schools, number 1 versus number 2, the Shriners St. Paul Cardinals victorious over the Rosehill Christian Eagles by the score of 21-17. And on Thursday night, Hempstead fell short to Shepherd by the score of 48-39. Those are your high school football recaps on the weekend that was. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics, proud to present to you Friday night football action for the Rosehill Christian Eagles. You can listen live from anywhere by dialing 857-777-0004. Catch the Rosehill Eagles in action live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. That number again, 857-777-0004. The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday Night Live, right here with the Mike Prince Show. You heard the promos talking about the Rosehill Christian Eagles. We are glad to have come back for what was a little bump in the road at the beginning when we thought we weren't going to have any football, but we are able to get it in. And then we'll present to some, introduce to others, the head football coach of the Rosehill Christian Eagles, none other than Coach Dennis Krantz. Coach, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, Michael. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing well. I know you had a heartbreaker, man, on Friday night. 21-17 was the final score. All I can do is summarize a couple of blown opportunities, but we'll let you give us a recap and we'll go a little bit further.
Well, obviously our guys and myself looked at this as an opportunity, especially, considering all the clout surrounding football this year with COVID-19 and so on. We're playing a shorter schedule, and so, and there's a lot of doubt as far as, are you going to be able to, make it to the playoffs, not just make it to the playoffs, but be able to play a playoff season and so on. So kind of the objective going into this game was to, schedule the very best teams that we could throughout the whole entire season. Aside from our own district, which is really strong, really, really strong. So, we've got to be able to prepare for that. So, going out of the gate, Shiner has been proven winning state championships every year. And so that's why we scheduled them. And going into the game, we wanted to see if we can compete. And if we were at the same level that they are, that they've proven, year after year. But, it was my speech to the guys that now it's our time. It's our time to prove to the rest of everybody in TAPS just how good of a team that we are. Not just athletically on the field, but how we carry ourselves also on the school, as members of our school and so on.
Yes, sir.
And so, yeah, aside from, and certainly during the game, that was the point of going in to play somebody like that. So.
Right. You came up short, but besides a couple of miscues, you got to be proud of how you guys hung in there. And if the truth be told, Coach, I would have to say on a scale of 1 to 10, the guys gave a strong 8. I would say they outplayed your opponent by a little bit. They just had a couple of miscues, the offsides on the scoop and score toward the end of the game, and then a couple of miscues in the early part of the game. But you got a big 43-yard field goal, had momentum and everything. And I must say it was a very well-played game from beginning to end.
Well, thank you, Michael. I believe the same. I think our guys were disappointed. I was disappointed because we had the opportunity to win. We actually had three touchdowns where we could have won. We fumbled in the first half in the end zone, and then in in the second half, we had the offsides penalty, and then we had a touchdown called back on that fourth down for illegal procedure. So, I mean, penalties kill you. You know, it certainly was the wrong time. Of course, as the head coach, I'm going to disagree with every penalty against our team as it is.
Well, that's your job, Coach.
yeah, exactly. So we left, I mean, if in all fairness, we left about, and we missed a field goal later on, so we left about 20, you know, the possibility of 21 points, you know, or 21 to 17 points out there on the field. And, you know, and certainly that's not good enough to beat a team, you know, that's as vaunted as Shiner is. That, you know, and then, like I said, we had to go into this to try and prove ourselves. But I think that we did that. I think we accomplished, you know, something that we've never done before and played at a championship level really early in the season. So I think there's a lot of positives that came out of this particular football game. A lot of positives.
Yes, sir. And if the cards line up right, you will see them guys down the road. So it's a lot that you can put into the data bank. It was not like you were blown out. And you guys know that you just got to, as I say, dig a bit deeper and hold on a little bit tighter and come out ahead.
Yes, sir. It's heartbreaking to go into halftime, winning by 10, and then, you know, have that big momentum shift. I mean, I'm telling you, special teams can they're either a grace or they're your nemesis. And so, you know, we that usually is something that we pride ourselves on, you know, along with everything else that we do, is that we definitely have a strong special teams showing. This particular game, I feel like we weren't quite up to our level, but that'll be fixed.
Yes, sir. Well, it's a tough game to come out on the opening season, but it is what it is. And now you got to move forward. You have Bay Area Christian on this coming week, and you actually will be at home for that one as well. What are some of the things that Bay Area likes to try to accomplish on the field?
Well, to believe it or not, Bay Area is a wing T team. And I got to give coaches credit. I really do, especially, you know, TAPS coaches too, because UIL, you're pretty much hamstrung in whatever type of offense or whatever type of thing that you need to do in your particular district. But TAPS coaches are real creative. You know, they go back old school, new school, everything. You know, they use it all. So Bay Area is a wing T football team. So that requires a whole new scheme on how you defend the wing T, you know, successfully. Because if you don't, and you're not disciplined against the wing T, I don't care how well. And Bay Area is a very well coached team. But even if you were poorly coached, you can be successful if you're not disciplined to defend that well. So certainly we have our work cut out for us. And they just came off a huge win against the Woodlands Christian last weekend. So they're flying high right now, you know, and we're still kind of licking our wounds after the game that we had on Friday night. So and we've got to be able to get up for them. So. And this year they're picked to win their division straight up. So, I mean, we don't have any breaks on our schedule. Like it's every week. It's just somebody great to come in. But, you know, I want our team to be able to say that when they finish this season, you know, there's nobody left out there that we could have beaten to not say that we're one of the better teams in our division. So.
Well, you're definitely headed in that right direction, Coach. And those who will not be able to be in attendance, reminding you that you can listen live here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network with Clay Nichols, the voice of the Rosehill Christian Eagles. All you have to do is dial 857-777-0004 to catch it live. And if you happen to miss it live, you can always go back to obnradio.com and listen to the rebroadcast. Coach, I know it was a tough week, but I'm pretty sure that when we get together on next week, it's going to be a different story. You'll have a little pep in your step, and we'll be talking about the victory that was and be looking for the next one coming down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the plan.
Yes, sir. Coach, we thank you so much for joining us on our Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Remember, he is the head football coach of the Rosehill Christian Eagles, none other than Dennis Krantz. We're going to take us a break, and we'll come back with more of the Sunday Night Live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You guys be sure to keep it exactly where you got it. Hold on to everything. Don't go nowhere, because we will be right back. You're listening to the Mike Prince Show Live, and we shall return.
Drivers and bicyclists both have the right to be on the road and travel safely. And when we're on the road together, safety is a shared responsibility. State law requires drivers to maintain at least 3 feet of clearance when passing bicyclists. And bicyclists should always ride with the direction of traffic and follow all traffic signals. It's safer. It's courteous. It's the law. A message from the Regional Planning Commission Pedestrian and Bicycle Program.
Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org.
Your education, your health care, your community, your future. Your vote counts for many things. Take control. Get registered. Get educated. Get out and vote. Learn more at www.vote411.org. This is a public service announcement from Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mike Prince Show Live Sunday night edition here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We are now coming into Waller County, Texas, where we're going to hear from the head football coach of the Waller Bulldogs. Had their debut on Friday night, came up a bit short against the Bryan Vikings, 31-20. We present to some and introduce to others, none other than head football coach, Coach Gene Johnson. How you doing this evening, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you for making yourself available, man. It took a long time to get the season started. You had a bittersweet debut, looked good, but came up a bit short. Give us a recap of the performance from your cat's eye view, sir.
Yeah, we did come up short, as you mentioned, and, in some ways I look back and I think, well, we had an 11-point loss to those guys last year in the opener, and we had an 11-point loss again this year, but it just felt different. As we had spoken a minute ago, we went into the halftime with the lead off of a great play by Mason Stewart on a blocked punt, and just showing what a great football player he is to step over into the special teams and make an impact. He blocked a punt and ran it in for a touchdown to give us the lead right there at the half. And then we lost the lead at the beginning of the third quarter and battled back and took the lead, I think, with about 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. And so, but we weren't able to hold on to the end there. We needed to make a few more plays in the fourth quarter. And we got down through a long pass to Goodrich, but fumbled the ball away down inside the 10-yard line when we were down by 2 scores there late in the game. So the kids did some great things. It just felt a little different, I guess, than last year's 11-point loss.
Yes, sir. Now, we know that there have been a roller coaster with the emotions and everybody getting in shape and having to sit back and monitor this and monitor that. When you look at the overall picture, you got to be somewhat pleased with what you've seen. You say you felt better than you did on the last time you met with these guys. What were some of the things that you can take away as you move toward the next opponent?
Well, I think defensive line-wise, Brian presented some great challenges for us there, and so I think that gave us an opportunity for our offensive line to kind of see the physicality. We scrimmaged C.E. King the first scrimmage, and then we had a chance to go against these guys, and both of them had really good players up front. And it's good sometimes to see that and challenge you a little bit and see some areas where you need to grow. And so we certainly feel like seeing that's going to benefit us for our offensive line to come back and work on some things and improve. I think we have some really good players on the offensive side of the ball, some great skill kids. The Hicks kid is, of course, coming back for us at running back, and Marvin Lewis has moved back to Waller after moving out of our district previously, and so we're excited about having him back. And then we feel like we got a really strong receiving core. We have to be better at our quarterback play, and we talked about that, and we need to do some things to put him in position to be a little bit more successful. And of course, defensively, they opened the game with 4 3-and-outs. Our defense did. So I was proud of some of the things that they did to run around and fly around to the football. And when you're playing with great effort, you have a chance to kind of cover up some mistakes defensively. But we've got to clean up some run fits and continue to grow and develop as a unit defensively. And I was really excited to see the special teams group, come out and partially block a punt. And, of course, we blocked the punt right before half that scored a touchdown for us. So we had an open in the third quarter. We had like a 50, 60-yard kickoff return that ended up being nullified by a block in the back. But, they did some things that they put themselves in positions to really impact the game. So certainly a lot of bright spots to come out of it, even though we lost the game, but probably none greater than just knowing that the kids were able to get back out there and play this fall when we didn't even know if we were going to be able to have a season. We were so excited for the kids just to get to go play.
I know that's right. And you made mention of that, and we spoke about that earlier in the year. Could you kind of see some of maybe the mental lag? I know when you're practicing is one thing, but when you're going real-time speed, it's a totally different thing. And can you kind of see the guys may have had that deer in the headlight look, trying to just get back caught up mentally?
I think so, actually. I do think so. And, I talked to the head coach at C.E. King when we scrimmaged them. He was, of course, a college teammate of mine. And I said, to stand out there before that scrimmage, today is the first day that our kids are going to tackle since last football season. So we didn't have spring training where we can teach tackling and have them tackling each other and working on that phase of the game. And we certainly didn't get to go against another team. And so there has been some of that deer in the headlight stuff. But I tell you, I have to brag on our kids because knowing that we walked away from our kids in March and our kids struggled with the online school and being around our kids was tough. And we tried to get camps going back up in the summer, had to shut those down a couple times. So we just haven't felt like we had touched and put our hands on our kids very much since March. But, they came in and it felt like it did when they left. And I think that's a testament to them and the kids. But we've got some things to polish and fix up. The tackling was certainly something that, being the one game into it was kind of a glaring mistake. But those are all things that we can work on. And hopefully I think the measure of a good team is a team that can improve throughout the season. And I told our kids I didn't think we played very well against Bryan. And so if we feel that way, then I'm anxious to see us play up to our potential and see what we can do.
Well, that's the beauty of athletics, Coach. You can always get ready for the next opponent. You have to put whether you had a good day or a bad day behind you, get ready for the next opponent. And since we brought that up, who will the next opponent be? And we're going to be some of the keys for you guys to come out in the winner's circle.
Well, we scrambled. We had to scramble around and pick up an opponent. We were supposed to play Aldine High School, and they had a delayed start to their season. And so we've ended up picking up the Tomball Cougars. And somebody that's familiar with us was in our district for the last 2 years before they moved up to 6A. But we'll be taking them on Friday night here at Waller at 7:00. And so we're really excited about that. Of course, they're a team that's not far along out of 5A, but they're a team with 6A enrollment. So we've scrimmaged a 6A team and played against a 6A team in week 1, and we'll pick up another 6A team this week, which I think is great for our kids to be able to see that. We're probably a couple years away from being classified as 6A, and certainly some of the teams in our district, like Lufkin, have been in 6A, and then the College Stations and Mag West and New Caney Porters, and some of those teams they play like a 6A team. So we're excited about the matchup. We know offensively they're very explosive. We're going to have to run to the football and fit the run really well. They've got a quarterback, actually a couple quarterbacks and running back that can, take it to the house in a hurry. You're quick and in a hurry, as we say. And I always tell kids your value as an offensive player is a kid that can score from anywhere on the field. His value is pretty high, and they've got a couple of kids in the backfield that are kind of like that. They're those type of kids. So we're really excited about the matchup and continue to kind of see where we are as a team and what we can do to grow and improve. Absolutely.
And when you make mention of that 6A status, that is your immediate near future, my man, because it's coming.
Yep.
We're talking right now.
We will be there 2 years.
Yes, sir. Probably before then, the way this thing is sprouting up. We're talking right now with head football coach Gene Johnson of the Waller Bulldogs. Little stumble out the gate, losing 31-20, but things are looking up upward bound. As you mentioned, Coach, you're feeling good about this group of guys. They've shown some togetherness through these tough times dealing with the COVID. The coaching staff has even drawn a little bit closer to have an overall, as they say, camaraderie moment of bringing not only the guys together, but a community together and getting sports back. And it had to feel pretty good to get out there on that sideline Friday night.
No, it absolutely did. And I tell you what, things were so different in the environment with our band and cheer and drill units not traveling and staying home. And of course, having to go up to their stadium and have their band standing right behind our bench. And, but I tell you, there were some proud mom and dads and, community members that were up there in the stands, socially distanced out, but cheering and yelling for their kids. And it was just awesome to have the boys be able to get back out and play. And then on top of it, to hear their parents up in the, I guess that's one thing is not having the band. There are probably not many positives of them not being able to travel with us, but one positive is that those parents' voices can be heard a little louder when that band's not playing.
Oh yeah, back to the Pee Wee days.
Absolutely. And so we had some moms up there cheering for their baby boys, and let me tell you, I absolutely loved that. That's probably the best part of the night.
Yes, sir. Well, the Bulldogs will be hosting the Cougars 7 p.m. at the Waller ISD Stadium. Social distancing is still in place, but get out there early so you can make sure that you mark your territory and be able to cheer the Bulldogs on. Coach, I know it was a rough weekend, but things are going to get better, sir. As my pop used to tell me, keep hanging on in there, trooper, and it's going to work out before it fades out.
We will. We are, and the kids are too. So we're gonna keep fighting.
All right, Coach Gene Johnson, thank you so much for joining us, sir. And we'll do this again on the same bat channel next week, if that's all right with you, sir.
Sounds great. I'll look forward to it.
All right, Coach Gene Johnson of the Waller Bulldogs. We're going to take us another quick break, and we'll come back and get ready with more of our Sunday Night Live edition here of the Mike Prince Show at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. That was a call handled on our Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline. We'll take us a break, and we'll be right back.
Sergeant Stephen Woodard with the Texas Department of Public Safety. This is your Traffic Safety Talk. Here in the state of Texas, we get a lot of different weather events. It may be hot one day, and the weather may change next. But with a heavy rain event, I want you to continue to be cautious, check on your neighbors, and never drive through flooded roadways, especially at night, because it's generally hard to judge the depth of water during low light times. Flash flooding is the number one weather-related killer here in the state of Texas. More than 50%, all of our flash flood fatalities nationwide involve vehicles. Saving lives is my and DPS's number one priority. Never attempt to drive through flooded roadways, and always remember, around, don't drown. Some safety tips. Even in relatively shallow water, you should think about this. Tires can act as flotation devices. They can actually lift a big vehicle of several different sizes, sending that vehicle downstream of that flooded area, and it only takes 300 pounds and going down the road. Where water covering roadways, it could actually hide washed out bridges, gutters, and also large cracks in the roadway. Keep in mind, if you are in a low-lying area, especially an area that floods, you set everything that you have in high positions. If you can, leave the area. Never allow children to play near ditches and storm drains. Keep an emergency kit in your vehicle, complete with flares if possible, lights, triangles, be a small flashlight, and coat. Forget your cell phone charger. Other essentials like medication. Monitor your weather authority. Always listen to the public officials, their recommendations and orders. Remember, take care of yourself and each other. This is Sergeant Stephen Woodard with the Texas Department of Public Safety. This was your Traffic Safety Talk.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Friday football wrap-ups are up and over with. Now it's time to move toward the college circuit. We have back with us live tonight BJ Jones, college football analyst. BJ, what's going on, my man? How you doing? Are you there with me, BJ?
Yeah, man, I'm still here, man. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, man, everything is going good, man. Welcome back to the show. Huge college weekend. We got a lot to get wrapped up in, man. We know the big buzz has been Mr. Sanders, Coach Prime, Coach Sanders. However, the debate is going. I'm not really sure what all happened on that, but we'll get down that road when we get down that road. A huge weekend in college football, man. Some major upsets on the big boy circuit, and it's just a lot to go on, man. Are you able to wrap your head around all of this?
No, man. It's been a lot. Starting last Monday with the hiring of Deion Sanders at Jackson State, and then this weekend the SEC resumed play. So that started the 2020 season, and lo and behold, LSU. The first defending national champion to lose a season opener, I think since 1978 was the stat. Oh man, so it's been a crazy weekend, and it was kind of refreshing, to sit back and see a little football.
It felt almost normal. I don't really feel it just yet because there's no SWAC play, no MEAC play, but we're going to get through it. And I did get a chance to watch Missouri get annihilated by Alabama, and I'm just dead set, man. Missouri is not an SEC brand program. They too finesse, and you would think as long as they've been attached to this conference, they would have adjusted by now. And it's just horrible to watch being a native Missourian, man.
Man, Missouri, but you remember when they first came in, they made those 2 championship games.
Yes.
They actually prepared well. I think Gary Pinkel retiring hurt them, and I don't think that they hired particularly well after that. We'll see what the new coach who just came in from Appalachian State, we'll see what he can do, but there was not a lot of talent at Missouri. The problem with Missouri is Missouri couldn't hold on to a lot of its talent. A lot of kids go up there and they transfer out. So it's going to be a challenge for Eli Drinkowitz, who's a new head coach up there, to kind of stop that trend and get Missouri built back up.
Well, I understand that, but you say the coaching, but it was always been about the recruiting. Stop recruiting finesse-style players. Personally, they should have never went to the SEC. I know they went for the money. If they didn't stay in the Big 12, I think they would have been a better fit in the Big 10. But that's neither here nor there. They're there now, and they do what needs to be done. And since we're talking about SEC, the collapse of LSU, the debacle of Missouri, Texas A&M somewhat struggled against Vanderbilt. They pulled it out toward the end. And I'm attributing all of this is that they talk about the money games and how they're blowout and unnecessary, but those big boys need those money games just as well as we need the money games, because it's proven that when they can't get out there and fine tune, they struggle out the gate.
Yep. I mean, you look for that first game where you kind of have a larger margin of error and kind of work some kinks out. So when you finally hit conference play, you're full speed go. Now those SEC teams don't have that. You had LSU starting off with Mississippi State, Texas A&M starting off with Vanderbilt, who defensively isn't bad at all. Vanderbilt defensively, have done some great things. The problem with Vanderbilt is consistent on offense, being consistent on the offensive side of the ball, which is something they struggled to do. Also, you had Georgia, who didn't look good in the first half against Arkansas. That was a ball game. When you turned on television at halftime, you thought, like, what was going on? Georgia was able to make a quarterback change and the offense started flowing, and then there you go. But, it was an interesting week. Even look at Tennessee and South Carolina. South Carolina fight their way back, and then the boneheaded play on special teams pretty much gives, Tennessee the ball game. So I mean, it was a solid week of football.
It was, and you talk about Arkansas, and part of that, a lot of people don't realize Arkansas had a lot of transfers with their new coaching staff, and a lot of those kids that were committed to Missouri changed their colors and went from black and gold to the burgundy and white of that of Arkansas. So you can see a lot of the changing in the winds, if you would. But once again, it's going to be attributed back to how they look 3 to 4 weeks from now. And that's when you can really tell when these guys got their legs up on them, got their wind, and you start seeing some more ball played at its apex.
Yeah.
Talking right now with B.J. Jones, college football analyst, the Open Mic Broadcast Network. This man wears many hats. He's going to have a feature show here on the network in the makes, the barber shop, and doing a whole bunch of things. And speaking of doing a whole bunch of things, the grand old story of the week and a half, the worst kept secret of the new coach at JSU, Coach Prime, Coach Sanders, whichever side of the coin that you're on. What are you seeing this as a pro, con, happy about it, sad about it, not concerned about it? What's your assumption and analysis on this process?
So I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think that ball stays in one corner. I think there's a little bit of everything. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see Jackson State make the television rounds this week. Where it didn't matter if it was ESPN, Fox Sports, Good Morning America. I mean, First Take, you name it. The who's who of television, Jackson State's brand was up on the television. That's good for Jackson State. That's good for the conference. At the end of the day, you still got to coach. All right, once we get done with I Believe and going to church and doing some of those other things, it's going to boil down to can you coach, can you get the kids here, and can you get those kids to execute? Jackson State hadn't been able to do that since 2013. So it's an uphill battle. Also, it's a good move, but this is one of those moves where this is either going to go really, really good or it's going to go really, really bad. I don't think there's going to be a lot of in-between on this one. So, yes, I'm happy. I'm excited for Jackson State. I'm excited for the conference. But this thing has the potential to look ugly if everything's not going in the right direction.
Now, when you say the potential of looking ugly, what are you seeing, I guess, in your tea leaves or your crystal ball of it going haywire?
Well, you have to look at it. T.C. Taylor, who was an interim head coach once Hendrick was fired. He was the guy that wanted their head coaching position. He interviewed for it previously. Having him to come in and being a part of the new coach's staff, I mean, I understand what you're trying to do, but you have to think that man's human. All right, he's going to feel some things. And you've been around the sport like I've been around the sport. There are alumni that more than likely feel that T.C. Taylor got the raw end of the stick. All right, and if things don't go in the right direction, meaning winds are not rolling in, that alumni will become from a silent minority to a very vocal minority, and that just has the potential to create problems. Also, if it goes bad, a lot of people are going to be pointing to, well, he never had head coaching experience on any level, never been a college coach, not even a position coach. You're going to have a whole bunch of I told you so's, and when you start getting that type of environment, not only do they want the coach gone, they want the people that made the decision to bring the coach in gone too.
Wow. So you're talking about some major ramifications if this thing falls through.
Right.
Okay. Now, if it works and, it's the pie in the sky, would you consider the people naysayers or just people who understand or purists about the game and the conferences say? Because, you got a lot of people that say, well, they're hating because it's not you all that got them and we got them and y'all just jealous that we got Prime and you don't. Do you think that's part of this, I guess, tug of war?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. I think that, And are there some people out there hating it because Jackson State has got prime? Yeah, but the majority of people, from what I've heard, they're bringing legitimate, questions and making legitimate points. Everything ain't hating. Sometimes it's the truth, and sometimes we throw the word hating out there to try to shield ourselves from a truth we may not want to hear or see. But I think with this one, it's a legitimate. It's a legitimate, question. You hired someone with no head coaching experience. Don't be shocked if this person learns on the job and doesn't learn well, and it's a failure. Also, if it goes good, props to Jackson State. Props to Ashley Robinson for being forward thinking and doing something off the beaten path. Props to you. So, how this hire, what kind of hire this is, won't be determined over the next couple of weeks. It'll be determined over the next season or three on if Jackson State made the right choice or not.
I do understand that. And, there's a term that says no risk, no reward. You have to take a gamble. You have to take a shot. There's a first time for everything. And this happens to be a high-profile coach coming to one of the higher-profile conference teams in that of the likes of Jackson State. And before I go any further, I personally believe there are 5 institutions within this conference or 5 HBCU programs that you really and truly cannot afford to be cutting your teeth because the fan base, the alumni base are just not going to tolerate it. And those would be a Jackson State, Tennessee State, Southern University, Grambling University, and Florida A&M University. Those 5 institutions, you don't have time to be trying to cut your teeth. You got to come in hitting the ground running.
I agree with all of those, with the exception of Tennessee State.
Okay.
Because if you look at what's going on at Tennessee State, Rod Reed has been there for a while, and it's not like Rod Reed has been setting the world on fire. And every time I think, okay, Rod Reed might be out, he comes back. So yeah, I agree with most of those, and maybe because Rod Reed's also alumnus, he's one of the best players in the history of the program. That may have something to do with it, but he has not been, setting the world on fire at Tennessee State by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh no, I didn't say he's setting the world on fire, but just talking about a novice coach coming in to programs' expectations of that. Because let's be honest. Now I know you're a Southern alum, but I thought Southern fans were hard to deal with. But my goodness, fam, y'all running neck and neck, and then and then JSU ain't too far behind. Those 3 institutions are some very, let's say, confident fan base and alumni base with more than normal expectations.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
If you could summarize, you guys are like Cowboy fans. Did I lose you? Yeah.
I kind of call Jackson State the Cowboy fans of the SWAC.
Okay, and what do you consider Southern?
I would say Southern's probably like maybe a Green Bay.
Oh man, what you been on?
Yeah, I probably maybe like a Green Bay.
Okay, and then fam.
Fam is probably more like I know. Thinking not how the team's doing right now, but just historically, I say fam's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys also.
And
I think them and Jackson State are similar.
And you don't see Southern as a cat. Well, that's because you got them blue and gold glasses on, man.
Well, I look at it like this: the Cowboys hadn't won anything in forever. And yes, the Cowboys are you look at what they've done, franchise wise, they, the history of the Cowboys, it is rich. But when you talk about what Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? It ain't been a whole lot. We talk about Jackson State. The last conference title was in 2007. We're talking about 13 years ago. That's the only conference title in the last 20 years. So, yeah, that's, so I compare them to the Cowboys and also FAMU. You start talking about what have you done for me lately. It ain't been a whole bunch. I mean, it's been some, here we go, but they haven't walked home with the trophy, even the conference title yet. They can talk about last year, but yeah, you didn't get a trophy for that. So I will compare them to the Cowboys also.
Okay, well, look, you kind of sneak and got a little bit ahead of me. I got a letter grade that I have put up for the conference programs. I got it broken down in two categories. We're going to go football, and then we're going to go overall program. But I got to take a break. Can you stay with me through the break, and we can break those down?
Yeah.
I want to get your analysis on that, and we'll share that as well. You're listening to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the Mike Prince Show, live Sunday night. Our special guest, B.J. Jones, college football analyst. We'll take us a break, and we'll be right back. Keep it right there where you got it. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. Have sports, we'll travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics. Attention all coaches. Whatever your sport is, we want to tell your story. Dial our 24 hours, 7 days a week message line at 713-570-6736. Leave your game results, team results, and player results on our 24-hour message line, 713-570-6736. Have sports, we'll travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show. We are here with B.J. Jones, college football analyst, as we are breaking things down. Before we took the break, we were about to go into a letter grade. But before I get into that, B.J., I am looking and still scratching my head. I know I fuss a lot, and I'm not a Cowboy fan at all, but Atlanta has laid 2 Falcon eggs these past 2 weeks, and it started out, how do a professional athlete not just simply jump on the ball?
Man, that's one of those ones. Now, I will say this, in their defense, when you play special teams and you're on the front line, the hands team, they will tell you, do not lunge at the ball unless you know for a fact that you're going to get it, because the ball, it isn't live for the kicking team until it reaches 10 yards. But if you touch it before and you miss, it's live at that particular point. So I can kind of get it, but then looking at that ball, the way that it was just spinning along, somebody could have fell on that one. Like I just don't get it. But that's Atlanta. That's the sports town of Atlanta. It doesn't matter if it's the Braves, the Falcons, the Hawks. That's the sports town of Atlanta. And living in Atlanta, you learn to expect those things.
I hear you, but there's no excuse. You're a professional athlete. It's not like you're a pee wee leaguer, not even a high schooler, and heaven forbid, a college player. You are paid. Fall on the ball. But
Yeah.
I don't want to lose my sense of tracking on that. Look, I have been doing a little research and a little data, if you would, and I'm going to ask you to participate in this little research that I've been doing. And it's a simple one. It's nothing too complex or anything of that nature. But I've given a letter grade over the past 5 years' performance for the football programs and the overall programs. So we're going to base these criterias on budget, results on the field, facilities in football, and overall programming. So when I call off the school, you give your letter grade for football and then the overall program, then I'll give mine and we'll kind of dialogue on that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay. You ready for this one, man? I wish I
Oh,
had
yeah.
the theme music. But we're good. We're good. Alabama State University. Football. What letter grade do you get them over the past 5 years, performance-wise?
A D plus.
A D plus. I gave a D. I see right now you're a generous guy. You're a generous guy. And what are you basing that on, sir?
They have underachieved. I think in that time, I think there's only one winning season, and that was a 6-5. When you look at what the facilities they have football wise, not just talking about the stadium, talking about the football offices and everything else, they're rolling along. So they severely they've underachieved.
Okay. Now, what do you give their overall athletic department?
I give them an A. They're still rolling in the Commissioner's Cup. If you look at what they've done, women's basketball, track, both men's and women's, tennis, baseball, they have racked up. I want to say it's 4 consecutive or 5 consecutive Commissioner Cups.
7.
7. Oh my goodness! Yeah, 7. Give those people their just due.
Okay.
Man, they are rolling it in, and like I said, overall facilities amazing. So yeah, I give them an A.
Well, I gave them a B. I said, boy, this is going to be a very interesting conversation with you. So we got a D plus. I gave a D, and then you gave an A, and I gave a B. Am I a hard taskmaster, man?
Just a little bit.
Okay. Alabama A&M.
Football, I can hand them a C plus.
Okay. We're the same page on that one, C plus. So I'm balancing out, and you're basing that. There's been a turnaround since the addition of Coach Maynor. He's gotten them to buy into his way of doing things, that new culture, that word we like to throw around, and so they're on the upswing right now. How do you grade their overall athletic program?
I'm going D minus. They're not good. They're not good in anything. And that's like the.
I gave them a D.
I mean, they got some nice facilities, but if you look at men's basketball, women's basketball, softball, baseball, you had a year, 2 years ago, where they literally finished at the bottom of the conference in every sport. That can't happen. Stuff like that can't happen. You know what I mean? So they're not really doing a lot. So yeah, I had to give them that.
Okay, fair enough, man. This is what makes this a very interesting segment. All right, let's go to the reservation. Are we even allowed to still call it the reservation? And I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be funny.
I guess. I'm
gonna have to really check into that, because I don't want anybody sending me any hate mail. You know what I mean? Alcorn, what do you give them for football and overall program?
Oh, football, I give them an A plus.
Okay, I gave them an A. We don't even need to talk about it. It just speaks for itself, right?
Right.
They've done what they've done and continue to do what they do. And you being a Southern guy, I'm about to hit you one time. I can see why you gave my A+. Now, how do you rate the overall program?
I give them a C-. Men's basketball, they've been solid, but they're kind of like they're the one-trick pony right now.
Okay.
They have football, and then that's about it.
Okay. Well, we're kind of close in that area. I gave them a D. You gave them a C-, which is a high D. So we're kind of walking neck and neck on that one. Okay. Now, and I meant to tell you, I've included in this Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, and so now I'll have you to give me Bethune-Cookman's rating in football and the overall program.
Football, I give them a B.
Okay, I gave him a C+. We're kind of close, brother. We're thinking along. We're getting it right. Yeah. Sims has done an outstanding job, and he's been consistent. And what are your reflections? And the fact they've been able to handle FAM is a good reason and a good measure as well.
Yeah, they've been handling business against FAMU. That winning streak almost expands the entire decade. And if you look at Bethune-Cookman, they win. And this is the thing that frustrates me about Bethune-Cookman. You'll see them beat Bethune-Cookman, but then they'll have a random loss.
To someone that they're not even supposed to remotely be losing to.
Right, or get into a knockdown drag out with Delaware State.
But is that about matchups and schemes sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So when you go to the overall program, what are you giving them?
I give them a C+.
Okay, I gave them a C.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Now, let's go to Arkansas, Pine Bluff, football and overall program.
Football, I give them a D.
I gave them a D+.
Yeah, outside of last year, they haven't had anything to cheer about.
True enough. Show it to the point. And overall program?
I said about the same, about a D.
Okay, very good. Very good. Now I'm ready to hear how you do this one. Grambling State Tigers, the G-Men.
Football, I give them a B+.
Okay. I gave them a C.
You know what?
I gave them a C.
I give them a B+. They're the only team from the conference with a Celebration Bowl. All of those 5 years have been wins, and in those 5 years, you have a SWAC championship game appearance in 2015. You have a SWAC championship win and Celebration Bowl in 16. You have a SWAC championship win and a close loss in Celebration Bowl in 17. And then you have 18 and 19 where you were a game away from another SWAC championship game.
Okay. And I might bump that up to a C+. I might, now that you laying it out like that. Overall program.
I would probably go C.
That's where I am. That's why I have them at a C. So we're rolling right along. You're doing good, man. You're not feeling no pressure at all on this, are you? Now, JSU, the I love. Let's hear it.
Football, they get a D.
That's what I gave them.
All right, football, they get a D. No winning seasons in that 5-year period. But somehow, some way, in 2018, they found themselves a game away from the SWAC championship game. It was just odd how that kind of fell. And then outside of that, not really a lot to cheer about. But whatever there's been to cheer about, you got to give their fans credit. They've shown up and shown out.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Now, did we do the overall program? What did you give them?
I give them a C. I give them a C.
Okay, we're right on the same page with that one. Now, here's going to be another intrigue one as far as your feedback. FAMU Rattlers.
In football, I give them a B.
Okay, I gave them a C plus.
Okay.
And the reason I did that, Simmons has had success, but in the past 5 years, they were a train wreck. And,
yes, they were.
And Simmons has had 2 strong years, so that kind of gave them out of that D cellar to the C plus. And overall, I gave their overall program a C as well.
Okay.
Okay.
That's about where I'm at.
Okay, very good. Now, here's where it's going to get personal for you. Southern University.
Football, I give them a B minus.
Okay, I gave him a B. I don't even want to dig deep into your wounds. I know why you feel the way you feel. All I need to say is 1-11, and but you all had a strong run and continue to have a strong run, and we won't even beat that horse. What do you give the overall program?
I'm probably stay in the B range, C-B range. Women's basketball has been solid. They have, conference titles. Men's basketball has won a conference title in that stretch. Just outside of this stretch. A basketball program is heading in the right direction. Baseball has a conference title. In that B range.
I gave them a C plus. So we're working on there. All right, here comes another interesting. Texas Southern University.
Football, I got to go
F. I gave a D minus.
And the football, D minus?
D minus.
Okay.
D as in dandy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of speaks for itself. There's some work to be done. They got to work it out. What do you do with the overall program?
Overall program, I think they're C, maybe even a B.
I gave them a C. Strong basketball tradition, strong baseball, softball tradition. There's another deal a lot of people don't realize. There's been 11 consecutive softball Western Division titles that the Texas Southern Tigers have won. 11 consecutive Western titles. 11
That's impressive.
consecutive. And you know what else is impressive? They do not have a softball field on their campus. They do not have a baseball field on their campus. They use city parks, and they've been very consistent from the baseball and the softball side of things. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yes, sir. Now, Mississippi Valley.
Oh, man. Football, man, it's an F.
I gave them a D. 5. If you compare apples to apples, they've had a little bit better success on the football field than Texas Southern.
No, good point.
So I gave them a D. You still gonna stick with that F?
I give them a D.
Okay. Overall program.
About a D.
Okay. Now, my beloved Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Football, what do you give them?
C.
That's what I gave them. And overall program?
About a C.
About a C. I gave them a C plus. Well, my man, I think you have done your deed on the night. We didn't run over. I didn't even realize we ran over. Isn't that something, man? Time flies when you're having fun.
You're having fun, yeah.
Okay, well, look, man, before we get out of here, I want you to give the people an opportunity to know how they can get a chance to hear and see some of your work. And the floor is now yours.
All right, man. You can check me out, man. I write with HBCU Game Day. You can also catch me on the No Huddle. HBCU Game Day, hbcugameday.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Inside HBCU Football and Facebook at Inside HBCU Football or BJ Jones. That's how you can find me. Or you can find me somewhere here around here at the Open Mic Network, whether it's the Carlos Brown Show or on the line with Mike Prince. So get ready for the barbershop. That's coming soon. You guys are going to enjoy that, and we're going to have a good time with it.
I do know we're going to have a good time, man. I thank you so much for joining us in. Thank those who joined us here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network and the Mike Prince Show live on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. I want to thank our guest, Dennis Krantz with the Rosehill Christian Eagles, Gene Johnson with the Waller Bulldogs, and our college football analyst, B.J. Jones. My time is far gone, and I must exit stage left. I want to thank you guys again for joining us, but until the next time, I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Krantz. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.